a bit tricky with figuring out the YouTube stuff, trying to go live and make it happen. Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Hope you're doing well. I am experiencing technical difficulties this morning, which is annoying. But I think we're good now, and I'm going to confirm it for myself. But yeah, I've got a lot of things I want to talk about today, all Splinterlands related. Well, mostly. I also want to talk about Arcade Colony, moon carts. I've got some new thoughts, or some, for me, really exciting thoughts around the next thing to get excited about. Like, I mean, and it's sometimes the old thing. And so yeah, man, I'm eager to chat. I'm eager to see what you guys are interested in and what's going on in your worlds. Let me know in the comments below if you got any questions that you want me to get into. NFO guides, good to see you. Axler, good to see you, pal. I'm gonna make sure that pops up. Give me a beat here, boys. Boom. Let me come back in here. Boom, boom. There we go. Appreciate you, Axler. Axler Twin Blade. NFO guides. Baron's Toolbox. Check them out, guys. Gathering, thank you back. Gathering, I do think I figured out the audio, but I don't want to mess around with it right now. And I know you got to go in like under an hour here, so we'll connect another time. Gathering took a good portion of his morning here trying to sort out technical issues with me, trying to make it happen where we could have a good chat, and we will soon. Even tomorrow, like I said, he's trying to create some content for his channel, and I'd love to pop by and we'll just hang out and talk about whatever you're into there, Gathering. Appreciate it. But I think I figured it out. It was for anyone who uses OBS. Just side note, while we wait for some people to show up, I'll tell you that OBS is this amazing free tool that allows you to record, you know, what you're creating, the content you're creating. Your audio comes in as one, you know, you can set it up as it's all essentially one file, all the audio, all the sound output, you know, your desktop image, or sorry, your desktop sound, your music file, your mic, and any other audio you might be bringing into it can be created as separate lines. And that's what I was doing. So my desktop was one, my mic was another, and I think I was only sharing to YouTube one of those files. So if I'm recording my own audio, that's optimal. I want to be able to control the audio from my mic. I want to be able to separately control the audio from Windows Media Player or whatever other sources I've got separately, because I can tweak volumes. It's more precise but it only works if I'm not streaming into YouTube. So I need to create a second scene, I think. Anyways, suffice it to say, I believe I figured it out. And yeah, guys, thanks for popping by today. Paul, good to see you. Sorry about this morning, pal. OBS is awesome. Yeah, OBS is awesome, but it's also super cumbersome, you know? And all the updates. I was listening to, you know who I've been watching more and more lately? Two new content creators that they're not at all new, but they're new to me, and I haven't been, I guess, taking in their content. And now this week I really have. Silence, just silence. Great stuff. Side covers a lot of amazing stuff. I've been watching all of your content lately, buddy. Love to have you come on and we'll chat sometime, or I'll come over to your channel and we'll have a conversation. I'd love to hear your thoughts, because I keep seeing really cool wisdom around rebellion from your stuff, and I'm starting to watch everything. So thanks for doing it. Thanks for creating amazing content. Plus, Sai's a Canadian and I'm a Canadian, so I'd love to, you know, offline just chat with you too, pal. And then also, there's another content creator I was just talking about with Gathering for a beat. Can I remember her name? It's gonna escape me right now. And Gathering told me when we were hanging out an hour ago. Single player gamer, I think it is. Single player gamer. Yes, single player gamer on YouTube. And she covers Splinterlands, and pretty interesting content. Like, really, you know, 1.2 subs, but you know, not the hugest viewership on these videos, but I'm enjoying them. I've been watching several of them, and I can't wait to get into more of them. Just looking at an interesting investment perspective, because she bought in when some of the alphas and gold foil cards were really inexpensive. And then she's got to a place now where she's not like a diamond or a champion. She's got like that gold, silver, looks like maybe range of deck, but she's got some real, like, she actually owns some gold foil. Like I think Al Malric, she owns 2 gold foil Robo Dragon Knights, legendaries, right? Very expensive cards. And she came in at a time when they were not, like 50, 60, 70, 80 bucks for those amazing cards. So it's a cool, you know, I don't know, victory story. It's really, it's nice to be able to celebrate with somebody like you. She even says like lots of her cards have gone down in value. So it's not as if she's like, you know, hit the home run and like, you know, she's retiring or whatever, but it's clear that she's had some successes and she's had some, you know, L's. And it's neat to see that from a different perspective for somebody who hasn't been here, for instance, as long as I have, because it's more of an upward trajectory. The longer you step back, the more time you've got. But yeah, definitely some victories, and it's fun to watch. So a lot of content creators. And the reason I thought about that chain of thought is Sai was having some challenges with his OBS the other day on one of his videos. And yeah, OBS is a bee sometimes, but technology enables this. You know, we get to have a conversation. I don't know where you are in the world, and we're having this chat. So that's really cool. Definitely. Yeah. Tomorrow, send me a Discord message gathering and let me know when you'd like to chat tomorrow. And if it's this kind of window in the morning, I think that I could give you an hour or two probably, but send me something about when would work for you. And I will do my best to make at least some of it happen. Bolts, thanks for popping by. Yes. Single player gamer. Great content, guys. Check it out. NFO guides, of course. Yeah, I need to get back to making content. I paused myself because I only wanted to spew salt. I don't like to do that. That's great. Yeah, it's good to definitely... There are times where I won't make content because I don't feel like I've got anything meaningful to say. And yesterday, or I guess like a day and a half ago, I usually put out my new video at midnight every night. And that's primarily because a lot of the viewership happens around 4 in the morning until like 9 a.m. That's when most of my viewers are on. So I think you guys are like East Coasters, a lot of you, and also you are early risers. And so I like to get it on by midnight. That way, if there's any late people, you know, if you're staying up late, it's there, and then it's ready in the morning. And I skipped a day the other day because I just didn't have anything to say. But then I did come through and I made a frequently asked questions video yesterday a bit later, 8 hours later than usual. So that's one of the ways I will create content when I don't necessarily have something that I particularly want to say. But I definitely agree with the sentiment around like there are times where you got nothing to say except for frustration. And maybe there's a place for that, but there's also, you know, it's probably wise sometimes to just be like, nope, just going to stay silent today. I hope you guys checked out Yabamat's new recent interview. I wonder if Bolts, if you're referring to his conversation with People's Guild. That was an amazing interview, guys. Yes, you should all go see that. But if you're not talking about that interview with the People's Guild, I really want you to drop in the chat what interview you're talking about, because I want to watch whatever you're pointing to if I haven't already. But I've said it already a couple times on this channel recently. The People's Guild, big fan. I was watching this yesterday. This is the People's Guild Battle Royale. It's a conversation between all these beautiful faces and more. Virus, Stever, Hep, B-Jangles, Bebe, Rogue, and I think Aftersound popped in, and Walking Keys. I only got 15, 20 minutes in, so I haven't seen the whole thing, but they're just having a good conversation. People's Guild, great content, and they specifically interviewed Matt, so that's what I think you're thinking of. 6 days ago. Look at that, 700 views. That's great. And an hour and a half conversation. So, you know, that's great viewership, great eyes on. And it's eyes on our game, right? It's people actually caring about what Yabamat, the creator, has to say. CEO, in fact, right? Look at this, Rogue, Virus. A lot of the Azercon, Breaking Benjamin, Matt Clark. Is that Matt? That's 2 Classels, right? Yeah, it is. So a lot of great content over there. It's not an everyday conversation with those guys, but you know, it's great content. So check out their channel if you haven't already. I'm in a kind of a season of just taking in as much as I possibly can right now. And I'm loving that I'm seeing in the last bear market, and we're still in the bear market for Splinterlands. We definitely are. Now, I think we've climbed out of the floor because I've showed you guys on my channel that with my card values, that there was a real bottom over here in October. This is my card data. This is my card collection value, 26,000 in October. And now in January, we're up to 34,000. So I think the floor was in that October or November space, but of 2023. But that doesn't mean we're in a bull market, does it? That means that we're no longer at the bottom of the bear market. And so I bring that up because it's interesting to see how many great content creators either, I don't know if you want to say survived the bear market, because there are great content creators. I showed you 6 on the screen a moment ago, and 2 of them were in that conversation, but not on the screen. Walking Keys, I'll throw Genk in there, of course. And Aftersound, man, killing it. Like 20 videos a day. And I watch most of them too, bud. So, keep it up. And what else? Yeah, so I mean, there's a different level of commitment and attention to Splinterlands that survived this bear market, or that is thriving, even I want to say, in this still bear market moment. And so that bodes really well from the grassroots advertising angle that Splinterlands is already leaning on and has expressed an interest in leaning on more. Do you know what I mean? It's like this game, do we have 20,000 real players? I don't think so. 10? 5? I don't think we really know. But it's not 50,000. It's not 500,000. It's not it's not a million real active individuals playing the game. And if we want this game to become what we think it could, I think we are aiming at hundreds of thousands of real individual active players. And that path. One of the ways that will be reached is absolutely through grassroots advertising, through the conversations that you and I are having, whether it's on content creation and on YouTube or Twitch, whether it's covering the game from a different angle on X, which, guys like Gold Matters do it, and they do it well. There he is right there. Extremely rare to see this ultra scarce gold foil Prince Julian card for sale at 7 copies. This is the 3rd rarest card in Splinterlands. This card also has very controversial backstory, which only adds to its mystique and its value as a collector's item. That's very interesting, hey? And I of course, that's way out of my league. But don't you love that there are content creators touching this space in our game and that are drawing eyes to our game from every angle? And there's more now than there ever have been. And we're still in a bear market. So just watch what happens in terms of content creation, content explosion, viewership. You guys are all those different names I've given shout outs to. They're touching this from different angles. They're reaching different communities. Their different viewers are going to come and find them. And that's going to be this grassroots explosion, I think, or that is part of how there can be a grassroots explosion in player base for our game. So it's very exciting for sure. And I'm glad that you're in there too, NFO guys. Yeah, but let's see. KGM Jam has good vids. I think I know who you mean. If I'm recalling the right channel, and I could be mistaken, the audio, it just wasn't dialed in. It's like, it's a little low, or there was something about it that I remember not loving. But again, the more content creators, the better. And by the way, my content and my audio was, totally subpar when I first started. And even now today I spent an hour, troubleshooting technical difficulties. So, I mean, nobody gets this stuff perfect. And I love that there are more. Interviewed by Drew Wolf. Okay. Wolfer. I definitely don't know that. So Bolts, I want to find that. If somebody has the link, drop it. So he's talking to bring it back. Bolts is saying that Matt was interviewed in a different context in a different place by a person named Drew Wolfer. I don't know Drew. I haven't heard that name before, I don't think. And so I definitely want to see whatever that conversation was about. Gathering says, going out to lunch tomorrow with my wife for my birthday, maybe after that. Oh, amazing. Birthday. Dude, happy birthday. Blaze, thanks for popping by. Gathering, hard to come up with new content and not talk about the same things over and over. Love to get comments on my vids and help that help me come up with new topics. Absolutely. Because I think it's important because we want to answer the questions that the community is raising. And that's true here too. If you guys have questions or comments or critiques or whatever, even Salt, it's like good. If you guys have real problems with what's happening in the game, with, any portion of it, it's great to drop comments on your favorite content creators channel, because it's going to spark thoughtfulness. And that's going to be a place of actual meaningful conversation. It's one thing for us all to come out and be like, just talk optimistically about the future, vaguely. It's another to get into to the nuance of the situation. Like land 1.5 isn't where the team wants it to be. It isn't where many of the players want it to be. It's not super satisfying to just press click, collect right now. That's what people say. And yet there's a broader conversation that could be had around how it's still really cool, and it's got like, but there's push and shove there, because different people are going to say, it's great to get into those where there's tension. And that happens when people drop comments. East Coast, bah, I live on the fourth coast. Not beautiful faces, Alex Toro. How does the People's Guild not have 100 or 1,000 subs? Gathering, I totally agree. I feel that way about a lot of the content I see, and I'm confident there'll be a massive explosion in subs for all of the channels who are being serious about this, who are actually taking it seriously, who are getting quality content, who are building the library now. At least that's what I've seen, right? On my channel, like, I'm blessed to have you guys come hang out for sometimes 2 hours at a time. I think I'm gonna aim at trying to do 2 hours today. We'll see. I started later than I wanted to, so we might have to cut it down shorter than I thought. But I set 2 hours for myself, 9 to 11, and just building that library of content that people will go back and see. And even now, I see people watching old videos that I created like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and it's not everybody, and they're not getting thousands of views like a day, but people like that. They actually, if they discover your content, there are those who really want to go through and hear more and more and more of it. And so it's important to build that library from, one, just like letting yourself be discovered, but also two, creating, more of that experience, because people, if they find your channel and they enjoy it, they're going to want it. So, and then it just happens, right? And it'll happen. It'll coincide with like a massive bull market for Splinterlands. We'll see the price of SPS go into some cool place. We'll see vouchers spike in a radical way. Moon cards will pop off, or, Arcade Colony with the airdrop will get exciting and people will start talking about it. And there'll be these different voices coming in, and viewers and viewership and subscriptions and whatever starts going up. And I think the next season of attention for Splinterlands will be big. And I do think content creators like the People's Guild can and should receive a lot more subs. Bear market over, bull starting up. Alex, I agree, but this is a far more complicated conversation than 6 words that you just said. And I think, especially for people who aren't crypto savvy, who are maybe new to blockchain or NFT, this is really important to get right, or to properly, fully explain upon. If you say bull market starting up, bear market over, does that mean that there's not going to be red candles between here and, like, okay, so you if you believe in SPS, and I think you do, and maybe you think it's going to 10 cents or 20 or whatever nice number you have in your mind. If this is the bull market, does that mean that buying SPS right now is without risk? Does that mean that there's only going to be green candles between here and moon? Does that mean that you can't lose your shirt making wrong calls or flipping between assets? Or no. There's always red candles in the middle of the green. There's always, bad days surrounded by a few exciting ones. If you know cryptocurrency and how explosive it can be, you understand, and I think you do, to Alex, but not everybody will, when they hear a comment like yours. If you, for instance, had 100,000 people listening to you, would some of those people take that and run with it in a context of, okay, like all in, ape in, move, it's just going to be green. Because when I talk to my friends, and I wonder if you guys do this too, you have friends that ask you about Splinterlands probably in real life. You have people who ask you about cryptocurrency or SPS in real life. And do you just say to them, even if you think SPS is going to go to $1, which I really believe is possible, I am so careful to give advice over that from that tone. Like, I don't want it to be perceived as straight up from here, because it just never is. And if you look at crypto, like, if you just look at even Bitcoin, but this is true for every coin ever. What happened for every coin that's ever gone through a true bull market and then experienced a full bear market? You see this right down here. Bitcoin was 10,900. That was on September 17th. And then let's go right there. So down over here, we're in beginning of October, 10,500. Fast forward. Okay, let's do the first chain. October, November, December, January. We're up 4x in October, November, December, January. Like 4 months. That's a radical improvement. But then really quickly, 10 days later, down $10,000. And if you buy here and you sell here, you're hosed. If you buy even like these smaller bumps as you zoom in, if you buy here and then sell here, you're getting screwed. Like, you have to know that these things are so powerfully up and down on even a minute by minute basis, let alone an hour by hour. And this is BTC, which is like far more, generally stable. And yet it's still up 3 times like last year. But I'm saying, like, if you get into some of these altcoins, if you look at SPS, or if you look at XRP, which is like, a main coin, but still far, like, I mean, look at this, guys. November 22nd, 2017, 23 cents. November 22nd, January 3rd, $3.90. And then from January 3rd, $4 to 4 weeks later, I think that is 74 cents. So absolutely, bull market starting, bear market over, but there's so much more nuance that needs to be spoken to a community of people that might be hearing crypto or experiencing crypto or NFTs or Splinterlands for the first time. Because SPS could go to $1, but it could go from 2 cents to 10 cents to 4 cents to 25 to, 4 again and back up to $1 in like 4 weeks. And if you buy it the wrong day or the wrong hour or the wrong minute, you might be eating red candles. And if you panic in that moment and sell, you might miss out on a green candle. So the complexity of truly understanding what it means that you're in a bull market is so important to hold on to. And most don't get it. And so it's really important that, we not oversimplify, even though I agree with your sentiment. Birds, bees, and trees. Hi from Cali. Why are seasons so short? Might it not be better to have like month-long seasons or even 4 seasons in a year? Might be time for a season revamp or structure. Any ideas? 4 leagues maybe? Yeah. I haven't thought about that recently, but I have previously considered that. It is interesting that oh yeah, we got rewards we can open up here. We'll do that in a minute. I want to speak to your thought and then we'll open up some rewards. If the seasons were longer, right now today, I think they're 14 days this season. Usually it's 15 or 16 sometimes. I don't really see why there's great value in having the seasons be so short. You might say I like it being 2 weeks because then I get my rewards twice a month. It's like a payday. But that sentiment or that statement is based on I like it, so don't change it. It doesn't. It's not a logical argument around why it makes sense. So, if someone in the chat has a thought on why it makes sense to keep the seasons to 2 week windows, I frankly don't have any justification other than I like it, and that's not a justification. It's just an opinion. So I would argue that it would make sense, and other games do that. 3 months is a season. That happens in Apex. I think it's 3 months. And, especially if you want to really give people, if there's only going to be one leaderboard, like one champion, and that's, I think, what they're aiming at. I don't know that it makes sense to constantly have these these season ends, because at the end of the day, the season ends are themselves tied into leaderboard payouts, which is part of why we even like the 2-week window. If we're removing leaderboard rewards, it sounds like we are, then maybe that's part of a full revamp. I don't see why that should be on the table, is what I'm saying. I think it's a worthwhile conversation. There would be downstream consequences. You would receive your chests would, if you have to wait 3 months to get your season chests, how many season chests are you getting at 3 months? Are you getting fewer chests because of that change? Are you getting fewer rewards because of that change? Is it this massive payout after 3 months? That would be pretty fun, but it'd also be kind of annoying to have to wait that long to see those season chests. And one more thing that comes out of that is people like getting the SPS in there. And maybe, I don't know, but maybe some of you are receiving SPS from your season chests, and then you're unstaking some of that to continue playing into the game or buying new cards. I don't know if that's the case, if that's your story, guys, but I wager some are. And so if you had to wait 3 months between it, that would be an impediment to that process, right? Now you might change this entire structure where the daily rewards end up being more significant than the end of season rewards. And so that long-term delay is less impactful. What I'm saying, and how I would want to land on your question, my final thought on it is really, I think that should be within the conversation. I think the existing end of season every 2 weeks has been a product of how it used to be, and therefore we just keep going the way it always has been. But if we're rethinking leaderboards, if we're rethinking rank rewards, if we're rethinking, how loot chests pay out and at what league levels you get what multipliers, etc., because all of it's on the table now. Let's also consider the 2-week window for the seasons. I don't know that there's any reason to exclude that from the conversation. Thank you for the comment, for sure. And on that note, we're talking rewards. Let's go ahead and let's open these end of season chests. I had some. Let's see what we got. Okay, we'll get into this here in a beat. Just give me a sec. I gotta make sure Guys, what are we doing here? 20 concurrent viewers, 6 likes. Do me a favor, if you're enjoying the content, drop a like. Let people know. Appreciate it. I'm always looking for, like, if I can get 40 likes on a public live, that's like a huge victory. So personal goal, if that's possible, love to see it. Okay. So these are my champ chests. I made it to like 80 something overall in the leaderboard, champion leaderboard. And this is in a wild league. And so that is not a DC payout, but good amount of chests, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 66. One of my favorite hockey players, Mario Lemieux. Ooh, gold foil. I'd really love to see some more legendaries this go around, because it's getting closer and closer to the end of the soulbound drop. And it's really important to me that I receive, like, I want as many of these as possible. I'm getting to a place where I might start burning DEC to get energy, even at champion, to see more and more of these rewards, because I really want to see gold foil. Oh, 485. Let's go. I really want to see massive gold foils on my account, on my main account. Okay. Ooh, 6 Octavia gold foils. That's a good one, man. That's a big number, a big multiplier, plus the gold foil. Love it. I'm super pumped. I think all of my summers now are max. To me, that's one of the most important things from this. Wow, I'm getting a lot of gold foils. Come on, gold foil. Oh, no, but 2 of them, though. Terracious, doubling up on the Terracious Hulk. I think that might push me to the next level. This one I didn't start getting until far later. I'm sitting around level 2 or 3 on all of my legendaries, which is kind of annoying. And like I say, I really do not want to have to go to the marketplace to buy them all. I've got thoughts on soulbounds too. After this, I'm going to check in with the chat for a beat. So if you got comments, I'm going to do my best to catch up on the chat, but I absolutely want to transition to a conversation about soulbounds. So stay tuned for that. Okay. This has been a good one so far. A couple legendaries, 6 gold foil sums, 500 SPS, lots of good merits actually. There's 2,000 right there. Another 25. SPS is coming in. 12, love it. There's so many cool things to talk about today too. Arcade Colony, moon carts. Oh, another one. Come on, gold foil. No, but 2 in the surges. I love it, dude. This is huge. This is a great payout. This is a great end of season with the legendaries so far. I don't usually get multiples. It's not every season. And that 450 SPS is a great little chest as well. And there's been a good amount of epics in here too. There's some more of the Evelyn's. Evelyn I do not have very high either. I want to say like level 4. No, with Adjust as well. Another one I don't think I have maxed out. Both these cards a lot better now with all the weapons training. Another 1,000 merits. Ooh, and some. This was a really good one. I quickly want to check and see. Come into rewards. And we'll look up the season summary on Infidel. Season summary, check rewards. So I want to talk about Soulbound rewards. I've got some thoughts, but I'm going to check in with the chat after we see this. So end of season 127, $83 right there. That's a great reward season for sure. And it's $86 without any price evaluation on these amazing cards. And I know that we're worried about how much DC you're going to need to burn to bring these to market, but there's possible ways to make that easier. Plus, we don't know if it's going to be 18x, etc. We're going to talk about soulbounds in a minute, but let's go over here and check out and see if I just upgraded one of my legendaries or epics. Chaos reward. I already have a max Octavia, so it's not super relevant that I do this. But of course, if I enter a gold foil tourney, I'm 1 away from a max gold foil Octavia. I shouldn't have done that. 5 of those don't need to be pushed into this, so I shouldn't have done it because now I'm waiting on 1 and I've over leveled. Don't make that mistake. That was a rush because now I can't bring them to market if I wanted to. Okay, so Toriel the Bale, I don't have enough copies. Let's go legendary specific. Come on, I'd love to see this guy go up. I need 2 more. See, I need 2 more Sturgis. I need 1 more Drybone Raider. I need 2 more Kulu Masterminds. I need 2 more Phyrexia Heroes. I need 1 more Musa Salines. My Usit's at max level, which is great. My Ava's at max level. Teratius, looks like I got to level up on my Teratius, so let's go here. That's a great addition. So this is a card I almost never play with because it's just pretty underwhelming at level 1 and 2. Let's see what level 3 does for me. Okay, so look. So we got the Void Armor. Now Shatter is quite prevalent with Immortalis, which is, you know, annoying. He doesn't have any real resiliency in the form of like beyond the amazing armor and relatively high hit points. You know, 17 is a big number, but if they bring a Shatter, that's just gone. And then also he doesn't have Void, he doesn't have Shield, he doesn't have, you know, Thorns even. He doesn't have like as big as he is, I find this pretty underwhelming. What's your level 4 about? So your level 4 is just 1 more hit point, 1 more attack. I don't love this card. This is yeah, I don't love that card. Of course, I'm happy to have it, and it will sometimes be used probably in certain contexts, but I definitely don't see that as a particularly powerful card. Okay, Let's check in with the chat, and then I want to transition into a conversation around soulbounds because there's some notes I've got, and some thoughts I want to share with you. Okay. Okay, gathering all alpha cards will be many multipliers higher in the future. So rare, so rare. If we ever grow significantly, watch out. Absolutely. Alex says none of y'all move the needle on anything. It's hilarious that you think y'all do. It's all about how Bitcoin moves. If you think otherwise, I have $50 Oceanus to sell you. I wonder, like, there's salt in there around you bought Oceanus high, but I'm not sure what your point is. Like you feel that I don't think you would think, I think you're implying, but I don't actually think you thought through your own implication. I think you're implying that like it's not helpful that there's content creators covering Splinterlands, that they aren't going to sort of help sort of bring attention to the game, that there won't be any growth of viewership or player base into a next bull market, or that it doesn't matter if we have a conversation around it. But I don't really think you think that. That is what you're implying, but I don't really think you've thought that through, because clearly it matters when we talk about things, right? It brings extra attention to it. You know, if people don't know how to play it and they can access information about it, that matters. You sound like Aftersound. I wonder why. I wonder what you're thinking about that. I wonder if you're thinking about Alex Toro's comment. That's what you're saying, yeah. NFL guides. Let's see. Where'd I go? Lost it. Lost my point. Yep. Good end of season rewards. Web3 gaming is the 1% in the future correctly utilized people get lost with lack of knowledge. Web3 gaming is the 1%. In the future, correctly utilized people get lost with lack of knowledge. People can get lost with lack of knowledge. So you're saying there's real opportunity within Web3 gaming. I totally agree. I think there's a revolutionary sort of opportunity here. And I think it's not just in Splinterlands. It's absolutely in the fact and the capacity that NFT ownership, like asset ownership, is possible tied to any game. The gaming industry is massive. People love playing games. It's been more and more like a bigger and bigger portion of discretionary spending over the last, like, let's say 2 decades. In fact, there's a generation of people who grew up playing Nintendo, Genesis, Super Nintendo, you know, N64, even Switch now, or PlayStation, etc. And they're coming into like their financially productive years, their earning years. And they absolutely are people that enjoy games. So they're bringing forward that spending power and putting it into the industry. And so it matters that there's this new piece within gaming where you actually can receive value for investing and playing, investing time, investing money in the thing that you already are going to do anyways. You're going to spend $100 on a title. Well, what if you spend $100 on a game, but it actually came with it ownership of assets, and there was the possibility of, you know, financial appreciation on those assets? Of course, that's exciting. Now, you might argue that the games that exist within the NFT space are not your cup of tea, and that's fine. But I'm saying absolutely, and I think Red X is saying the future of gaming is going to be within a Web3 capacity, or I would say like Web2, like plus, meaning like things like Invenium bringing to the table connectivity, you know, tokenomics into Web2 gaming. Because man, that's going to be big. There's absolutely going to be, there's a certain viewer and player that is going to be more interested in cryptocurrency because they can earn it for free, right? They can earn it for free playing a game they already enjoy. I'm not saying there's 2 ways to approach, you know, drawing new players. One is like, hey, you can make money, come play. 2 is, this is an awesome game. Game X is an awesome game. You would like it. Oh, by the way, you can earn with it. Those are 2 different angles of advertising and communication to an audience of people, a community, to a world of people who love gaming, who are spending discretionary funds on gaming already. And so I absolutely think WebX is right when he says Web3 gaming is, you know, it represents a amazing future opportunity. I think there will be literal life-changing wealth generated by some people that are playing within this space. And that might mean Splinterlands participants, but it might also mean I don't know, Mooncart or, some AAA title that is going to come through in Venium, etc. If they revamp ranked, there will only be champion leaderboards then, right? That's what they said they were thinking about doing. Red X, two summers ago, I was looking for a game that was actually out when Axie was running, and 12, the salt of the earth, and his values made sense. God bless this brother. Appreciate you, Red. Sincerely. Horace, thanks for popping by. I have never sold my SPS, hodl all of it. That's interesting to know. Horace is one that brings like passion and salt to his conversation, but it's not out of a place of like, I hate X or Y or Z. It's like really a place of like, just true passion. And that's exciting, man. I would say I'm surprised that you didn't sell any of your SPS at any point. And for one, I would say, that to me speaks to like, it's not just animosity, frustration. You are like for it, but you are, because you're so excited about what this could be, there is that passion that comes with it. I think that's a really good thing for our community. The fact that there is passion. If people didn't care about what land point 1.5 is, or how it maybe isn't what we want it to be fully, or how the leaderboard changes are going to affect them, or they don't care about rank rewards, that would be bad. We want people to care about these things. Oscar, good to see you, pal. Can someone tell me why I don't get any Izzyar since week 1 of Soulbound reward cards? Champ chest, not a, yeah, dude, me too. My Izzyars are underwhelming. I do have, there it is. I got level 2 Izzyar. Like this almost is like barely useful to me. Like I almost never use it. The Martyr is such a gigantic buff. Moving from level 2 to level 3 is such a gigantic improvement on this card. And then, of course, going into level 4 with that extra magic attack makes this really powerful. But it's just relative. Like I don't use it. Like, yeah, it's a good meat shield, and it's got void, which is nice in those magic only rule sets. But this is by no means the same card at level 2 as level 3. So yeah, I need more of it, man. This is probably, in my opinion, one of the most important ones. Okay. I definitely want to come back to circle back to Soulbound rewards in a deeper way. So bear with me on that. But again, I want to finish up some of these chats. Cold, good to see you. I got 1,000 SPS today on my end of season, says NFO Guides, for 83 diamond chests. Good for you, bro. Good for you. That's $485 chest in future SPS value. Yeah, absolutely. Same with me on the legendaries. Need a couple more to finish off, but don't want to buy. Absolutely. It is great though. Oh, you know what? We got to talk about it in a minute. I'm just going to say it's great that even if you don't want to buy copies of Soulbound reward cards, you don't want to pay penalties to bring these cards to market, it is amazing that there will be an opportunity to do that. Because if you're missing 1 copy of Izzyar or 5 copies like me and Oscu, if you're missing, 11 copies of this card, you're going to want it. And so the fact that there is a path to market, it absolutely is amazing. Even if we don't want to pay the price or we feel it's expensive. I still need a lot more summoners on my main, and $1,000 if we reach $1. Yeah. I think we could reach $1. Are you deducting the potions in those calculations? Seems too high for what you received. It probably is not. It probably is counting the, let's see. Yeah, it's counting the potions. $25 on the gold and $30 on the legendary. But I use my potions and I value them. I think they matter, especially now that you can use them on your chests. That matters. So fair enough. If you take away $50 from that, you're still at $36 or whatever. But again, that's $36. One of the reasons I leave the potions too, I've said this before and I'll say it again here. I leave potions when I'm looking at my season rewards using, this is Splex GG if you guys don't know. But if you calculate your end of season rewards and it says $86 and that includes your potions, you have to understand that it does not provide any price for your cards. And I like to imagine if I say there's even this represents the value for my cards in my mind. And I actually think it might be more than that. But do you see what I mean? It begins to give you some flavor because first of all, the potions carry a value, a usefulness and a utility that I want. So the value means something to me. But then secondly, these cards are not priced at all. That doesn't make sense. And so I want to have some consideration to, I guess, properly think through when I'm getting on a, every 2 weeks. And that's a guessing game though, right? I'm guessing that that's going to be anywhere near. Hit the like. Appreciate you guys. Yep, please do. If you haven't already, if you're sticking around, if you enjoy the content, tell YouTube, tell the people you do. Supreme Victory Studios just got 2 AZRs today, still not 1 BCX of Kulu and others. That's another one that's super powerful that people often say, hey man, like I haven't got any of it. Kulu Mastermind is very powerful, especially in the current meta with that weapons train. And you get into this place and you start getting, like right here, you got 5 melee damage. This thing is a big hit point. It's got the shield. The opportunity means you can spit this anywhere you want in that back line, which is so versatile. Because you can slip in the 4th or the 5th spot, and you can slip 2 non-attacking monsters on its left and right flank, and that thereby give them melee. Now that's helpful, of course, in melee from any position, or super sneak, or whatever the case may be. But even more than that, you can put this in the 2nd spot, and it's a reliable 2nd place monster with a good amount of hit points and the shield. And it's going to throw melee damage onto your primary. Maybe that's, the Bakjir, or maybe it's, it's that other Soulbound card on the blue team, which is epic. There it is, Noah the Just. Can I uppy? Nope, I'm 1 away from being able to up that. No, and I'm 1 away from being able to up that. So these cards are powerful for sure, and I hear that a lot. Those are the 2 well, hang on, that's not really true. I hear people complain about not having Mastermind. I definitely hear people complain about not having the other one I mentioned, Iziar. But this one to me is now one of the most important cards in the game. Avis Sturgis is absolutely powerful. This weapons trainer matters. And with 3 damage output at level 3, you're actually imparting that full power to your 2 neighbors. And it's only 6 mana. This is actually really cheap for what this does. You theoretically put 9 magic damage into the game with let's say 9 magic damage for 9 mana cost. Because picture Ava Sturgis in the middle, and you put the Pelakar Conjurer in the 1st spot. That's a 2 mana cost, 8 hit point with the Divine Shield, 5 speed, flight, great tank in the 1st spot for 2 mana. And then back here, you put the Chaos Agent for 1 mana, and it's, relatively weak, but it's a non-attacking monster with 1 mana cost. And it gives you another 3 damage output because, again, you're fighting at this level with the 3 damage. So this card to me is like, ever since the weapon train buff is must have. At this next level, I'm less. I see now that I don't so much care about level 4, but I do want the rust, especially recently with this card really grew, didn't it? In its meta standing, didn't it? Like, weapons training got a massive buff. And so the impact of this ability and with this damage and with these stats grew massively. So that's point 1. But point 2, this card got a buff in the meta standing because Rust actually is more meaningful probably now than ever. When you look at Armored Strike, a new ability where your monster with armor attacks another time at however much damage you have per armor. So 1 armor would equal 1 damage output, or 10 armor would equal 10 damage output. So this is a nerf to Armored Strike, and Armored Strike has become far more common with cards like Mantaroth, but not just Mantaroth. Bara does it too, doesn't she? I forget her name right now. Let's just go like this. Let's go Armored. I don't know how. In Canada, we spell armor with a U. So I was like nervous about spelling it with no U. So let's go look at this. Oh yeah. This is another one. Wailing Wraith, Silverblade Fighter, Baradalin. Yeah, these all have Armored Strike. So it's far more common. Plus you have cards like Grandmaster Wraith, which create the void armor on everybody. So you want to diminish armor. I would say armor is, Rust is more important than it ever has been. So Avis Sturgis is definitely in the picture of like must-haves from the current reward set. Leandro, I sold some of my SPS to spend on Splinter Forge last week. Interesting. I'm still interested in that. I don't have time to handle it though. I wish I did. Good time to build Splinter Forge with the forge being so cheap. 43 diamond chests, no legendaries. Ooch. You can turn potions, use them you can turn on and off potions using them for chests if you want, and save them for packs if you want. That's true. And lastly, Richard, if you were going to sell Chaos cards to buy Rebellion in the next 12 months, is there anything on the horizon that will drive Chaos card prices? This is a great topic. I almost need to write it down and cover it later because I really want to keep I want to carry my conversation forward with respect to soulbounds. That's what we've been talking about here for a minute, and I have lots more to say because I think there's something really... Just give me a minute here. I'm writing down your comment though, because I think it's worth discussing. Okay. So yeah, with respect to soulbounds, and I got to say shout out to Silence because I've, like I said at the beginning of the live, I've been watching his content more, and he covered soulbounds, like the 5 things he loves about soulbounds and the 5 things he wishes, he hates about soulbounds. And I think that conversation is really worth going further on. I think I've got something to say on that, and I'd love to share it with you guys here. Oh, take that off there. There we go. Yeah, let's try and pull up that video to give him the shout out that he deserves. Silence. Okay, here we go. From 2 days ago, he did this video, Soulbound reward cards, 5 likes and 5 dislikes. And it's actually a 26-minute video that's part of a bigger unedited stream that he did. So follow him, 153 subs, great content. Check him out. But in this video, I really enjoyed what he had to say. And he got me thinking about a lot of the things around soulbound cards that I want to share with you guys. And he made the point that soulbound cards need to be rotated out sooner. We heard recently that they're going to be extended for another 6 months, like the middle of 2024. I think that's a mistake. And I previously have said I'm happy to receive as many of these soulbound cards as possible. And that still is true. If you leave them in rotation, I'm going to be happy to get them. But I'm saying from an optimal standpoint, to optimize the attentiveness to the game, the joy of the game, maybe attract new players within the game, or incentivize DEC spending within the game, I think we need faster rotation on the soulbound cards. And I'll try to explain why. I think the longer we keep them in, the more easy it is to get them just by regular playing. I'm not going above and beyond. And yet I probably am going to max out my set. If I go over here to Splinter Cards, I can see my data. I'm in that 70, 90% range. Like I'm not really super close, but I'm not super far away from being done. As you can see, I got 100% on the common regs, 95 on the common rares, 76 on the epic rares, or I mean epic regulars, and 77% on the legendary regular foils. So the gold foils are a totally different monster, and that's going to take a long time. I'll probably never max them out. But I'm saying, if you give me more and more window, I will get more and more of the cards. And I'll be happy about that. Even if they give us 2 more years of this. Now, no, okay, that's too much. That's too far. It'll stop being fun. Because I'll have everything and I won't be wanting anything. And that'll make it disinteresting. And some people are already there. That's part of my point. Some people are already at a place where these rewards are maxed or close to maxed. Even when you start seeing that the regular foils are pretty close to max for a lot of people who play this every day. And that's my story, and I think it's probably a lot of your stories. It starts to get to a place where the cards are less exciting. It just necessarily does. And so I'm saying a regular rotation out of this and into new ones on a far smaller time scale is beneficial from a million different angles. One is the attentiveness to the game, because like I just said, it gets less and less exciting to open chests when I already have maxed out lots of them. That's like the first sub point of why it would make sense to move faster. Another is that if you want to see DEC being burnt, you want people playing more, you want people investing more in the game, you want people I think it makes sense to have a shorter window, a far shorter window of access to these soulbound reward cards. If there was a 1 year window on these soulbound reward cards and not like a 2 year window or even a 6 month window, you could imagine a really tight window where you have to play it a lot in order to get max copies. And otherwise, you have to find them through the marketplace. Now, I bet that rubs some of you the wrong way, because I think what you want is to have the max copies of all these cool cards, but you actually want other people not to. Because then you have scarcity in your hands, you have power in your hands, you have a certain ability and capacity that others don't. You're going to win more. That's what people really want. When they say they want more of the card, they mean they want more, but they want others not to. And that's just like the truth about a collectible card game. You want to have a different deck than others that separates you and gives you more advantage. I get it. So I think the path to that, to optimize or to maximizing that experience, would be if there was such a short window, 6 months, a year maybe, where it's not possible to get them all. You cannot get them all by just playing your 24 games a day. This is what every other game with free to play access would do. They'll give you free to play. What I'm saying free to play, I mean like you can earn the soulbound rewards by playing the game. You don't have to buy extra energy every day. But every game that exists where there is a possibility to put real money in to play more or to receive more, and they would give you the opportunity to play more by putting in more DC to earn the maximum copies that will not be possible. That's like a strategic play. It would upset some of us. Maybe some of you in the chat wouldn't like that. But it's one way that those cards will remain far more scarce than they are currently. I think if you did that, you wouldn't have to charge such high DEC burn rates to make them transferable, because there wouldn't be so many copies in the first place, which means you could let them come to market at a cheaper price. And it would help those who are most serious about the game. I think all of those are great reasons to strongly consider why a far shorter window of release would be possible. And I say, if you don't max out the cards, so be it. No, lots of other people won't as well in that context. Like, picture if everybody has 6 months to access these soulbound reward cards, then everybody has 6 months. It's like an equal opportunity theoretically. Some people are going to get lucky and they're going to get some max copies, whereas you won't. But maybe you'll be that lucky person. Maybe you'll get that gold foil and it'll blow you away because it'll be far more scarce and far more therefore valuable. So I'd say it would add to the scarcity and therefore the valuation on these cards too, which is a reward for our time and attention. Plus, it would create more differentiation between decks. So your deck, you happen to get the Kulu Mastermind. I didn't. I could maybe buy it on the marketplace, but maybe I can't. Maybe it's so scarce I can't. Or not without a crazy price tag. Then you start seeing more and more differentiation across accounts. And also, it becomes more of a merit badge on this topic of differentiation. Picture your account that's been here for the last 2 years. If there had been 2 soulbound reward card cycles that happened in that 2-year window, 1 year and then a full another year, you already have locked in those soulbound cards. That's 2 different, I'm talking editions of soulbound reward cards that theoretically could have come and gone, and so you have this unique access and window into assets that new players won't get. Now, new players will dislike that as they recognize that. From one level, they'll feel upset that they can't have those cards. But 2 solutions. 1, you can buy them from the marketplace. And 2, as much as this is a burden to you as a new player who doesn't have access to these cards, you have to recognize the opportunity on the other side of the same coin. It's a burden that you can't maybe access a card like, Kulu Mastermind or Iziar. But it's an exciting opportunity that you might later access a new cool card that future players beyond you will never get. So that's the same reason why it's attractive to hold Untamed. Even though the prices have declined recently and some people have sold because it left Modern, it's attractive to some people to buy into that because they actually want the assets that others will likely never have. There's a scarcity to them. And so I'd say it's both a pro and a con that not everybody will have it. I like that. It's a differentiation across decks. To me, that would be a bonus, not a detriment. But I really see it as something worth strongly considering that these be rotated far sooner. I said a year, but I could see even shorter than that. You know, they've talked about how they want to do 9 months of releasing a certain edition. And this is Size Point. He said, make the Soulbound rewards go in unison with the edition. So if these are Soulbound reward cards from Chaos, right? That's the Chaos symbol. Then make them stop coming out when Chaos stops coming out. Maybe there's a 1 year window. Like we said, we're trying to sell the packs for a year. And then that's what we're doing with Rebellion. So we need to have Rebellion rewards, Soulbound rewards that are tied to that same time frame. That way, when Rebellion rolls out, the Rebellion rewards roll out. Because it impacts the play, doesn't it? It impacts tournaments. It impacts guild brawls. It impacts rank reward experience. Because if you can use your rewards, but you can't, like these ones yes, these ones no. It's a weird dynamic. Is it a Rebellion card? Let it leave with Rebellion. Is it a Chaos card? Let it leave with Chaos. That makes a lot more sense in my mind. And that was Silence's point. I've got a couple more things I wanted to say on this, guys. I see you guys dropping comments on this, and I appreciate that. But I definitely want to finish 2 more thoughts that I think are really meaningful around Soulbound reward cards. And the first is that, or the second is, I think there's a path. You know, we're concerned about the 18X, aren't we? Like a lot of you guys are really frustrated, annoyed, disappointed by Matt saying that it might be 18X the cost to unlock a Soulbound. And I have to say, I was wrong about some numbers. So if I look at these Soulbound rewards, if I look at a Soulbound reward card, this is a common regular foil. It's 5 CP right there, collection power per 1 BCX, or 2,100 CP per a max 400. So if I go 5 CP for 1 BCX and I bring out the calculator and I go 5 times 18, we're talking 90 DC. Call it 100 just for easy sake. 100 DC is 1/10 of a full DEC dollar, right? DEC, $1 US is 1,000 DEC theoretically, which means that 100 DEC is 10 cents, which is to say that 1 BC unlock is going to be 10 cents. That's actually far bigger than I was originally imagining. Now, I still think it's okay that price be big. I've previously said I'm okay with the DEC burn rate making these transferable being quite high. And I like that for scarcity purposes. And I think it's okay. And I think you'll get that money back, by the way, if you unlock certain key cards because the market's demanding Ferox Defenders and you spend the DEC to unlock it, you're going to find that you get that back when you bring it to market. But here's an amazing solution. Again, this is like Sai got me thinking about this. This needs to happen. Why do I have to unlock it to bring it to market? Why can't I go like, I want to bring it to market, list for sale. I can't right now because it's not unlocked. But like you would have it, instead of unlocking, it would be like a declaration of this card is on the marketplace in its current unlocked state. And somebody who wants to buy it pays the cost. So we say, you know, if this is in fact the DC, so we go, look at this. Let's do the numbers right in front of you. 2,100 collection power for this max copy. So we go like this, 2,100. And let's say he decides 18 times the DEC is the price point to make a card transferable. So that card is going to cost 37,800 DEC to make it transferable. And then we go, let's say I want a profit margin of 10%. So I go ahead and I'm listing that card for 41,580. That's gonna take the burn value. You're gonna say, yeah, I'll pay that, or no, I won't. And if you say, yes, I'll pay that, then the automatic transaction, like a smart contract experience, comes through and sends 37,800 to Splinterlands where it gets burned. It goes to null or whatever. And that activates the unlocking process for this card that was in that contract. And at that moment, it's now made unlockable and immediately transferred to the buyer who paid that DEC. With the balance of the DEC, right? We said 37,800 is the burn, the unlock. So I got to subtract that. So the balance of 3780 comes to the seller. I think that seems logical, plausible, possible. I think optimal even, right? Why do I have to pay the DC to see it unlocked? Now, Splinterlands might not like that idea because they might like the idea of the DC being burnt upright or upfront in order to see the card even be brought to market. In some sense, we might like that too, because that means more DC will be burned in situations where the card doesn't even end up getting sold. It's like this, it's this upfront commitment to see that DC deleted to make that card transferable so that one day it might be transferred, traded, sold, rented, whatever. I don't know what the team would think about that, but personally, I bet you guys would approve of that. And if you guys do think that's a good idea, I strongly recommend you bring it up within the context of the Splinterlands town halls, or you talk about it in Discord with the team, because I don't see technically, and maybe I'm missing something, but technically I don't see how that would be difficult. It seems like that would be possible. And if it is possible, then that avoids a lot of the pain point that a lot of people seem to feel a high DC burn rate would mean, doesn't it? Because a lot of people say 18x is crazy. I have to put that DC out and I don't want to. They're already my cards, but I want to make them transferable. Okay. What you really mean, we got to cut. People say these things like, I want to make them transferable. The truth, the cut to the core of it, you want to make it transferable because you want to make profit off it. You want to make profit off it without putting money out. You feel you've earned the asset and it's in here in your deck, so you want to make profit off it. I get it. But let's be real clear about what we want. We want to be able to sell it without having to pay to sell it. If we're clear about that, the team can hear that request and maybe, just maybe, they can work with it and they can implement something like I just said. I don't see why not. Because if I list a card for sale that's not soulbound, what happens? This card is not soulbound. If I was to grab this card and go list for sale, if I set a price for it, it's not going to be playable for me. It's locked up. It's on the market. I can't use it. I can't rent it. I can't delegate it. I can't put it on land. I can't. And so for those reasons, I don't see why. It's almost like it's tied up in a smart contract. If that's the language I think about. Now, I don't think that's entirely accurate. I don't really understand, again, blockchain in sort of the programming or the background basis, but just it seems plausible. And if so, I'd love to hear more chat around it. And we could probably bring that to the team and see that they would explore it. Now, is it possible or not possible? They'll have to say. And finally, there was one more comment I wanted to talk on soulbounds. This is a size point as well. And I just really wanted to give a shout out and say, like, man, SPS Dust. This is actually Gathering the Magic's point. Oops, sorry for the mic. Sai said, look, why can't I just burn my soulbounds? If I don't want my soulbound, if I don't want to unlock it, I just want to burn it. Like I have 100 extra copies of Ferox Defender, 172 extra copies. Why can't I just burn it? And then you give me some sort of in-game asset that I can use to do other things with. And Sai called it Soulbound Dust. But I'll say Gathering the Magic weeks ago, months ago, talked about how I hope one day they'll be able to let me burn some of my soulbound cards in order to access other ones I didn't unlock, I didn't receive. Now, we wouldn't be talking about a cryptocurrency that would be like new to the game, that's maybe tradable, that will have its own. I would like this if this was a soulbound currency, dust, call it dust for, I like that phrase, because you burn the card and you're left with dust. And the dust is like a certain currency that allows you to go to the market, go directly to the team, and essentially mint new copies of different cards. Now, those would be soulbound cards. But if you needed one more copy of Iziar, one more copy of, right, it would be amazing to be able to buy those. And this would give it a pathway to you accessing the value of your assets without paying out. So it's like now this is two different paths to unlocking the value that you've earned with your time and effort. You've got these soulbound cards. You want to unlock that value. One way is to let the buyer pay the burn fee. That's option one. And the second way is that they let you burn them directly for this like soulbound dust. And that allows you to mint new soulbound cards that you end up needing. Now, there would still have to be a separate unlock fee to later unlock it. And this could have its own problems. So it's not without concerns. Like, for instance, you might start seeing too much minting of a certain one that's really, really powerful. And maybe that drops the market value of that. Is that a deal breaker? I don't know. Maybe for some people it would be. If you earn these cards by yourself If you're sitting on max IZRs already and you've got a few extra copies, you're not going to like the idea that other people can just mint it for free, or not for free, that they can mint it on like intentionally or of their own choosing. So these ideas have pros and cons, but I think soulbound reward cards need to be rethought. And I think there's a real new intentionality that needs to be brought to them that should transform how we receive them. Like, I mean, on the window with which we receive them, it should be far shorter. It should be tied to the addition of cards we're currently dealing with. And finally, there should be different mechanics thought through about how we can unlock them. I think a big price is okay, but there can be some creative solutions for how that price is dealt with. And I think we just talked about two of them. So that was what I wanted. Before we went live, I really wanted to get into all of that. I'm going to check out the chat and see if you guys have any thoughts on these soulbounds that, within the context of what we just said. And then I'm happy to get into anything else too. Burn event should drive prices up. Okay. Oh yeah, we'll have to get there. We'll swing back to Chaos Legion. Started playing Splinterlands was seen. Okay. Richard says, part of the attraction when I started playing Splinterlands was seeing the price of my reward cards and telling people what I just earned. Therefore, Soulbound took this away. I agree. And that's why when I look at my end of season rewards, I try to imagine that these potions equal some sort of value for my rewards. Now, I don't really think that's entirely accurate because I do believe, for instance, today I got, I think I did better than that. Like if I look at 6 soulbound rare summoners, gold foil, I bet those are $5 a pop. That's $30 right there. And then I got legendaries. I got 2 of the Thracious Hulk. I don't know if that's a very expensive card. I would probably only pay $1 for it. So that's $2. I got 2 of the Sturgises. I'd pay $8 for those. So now we're at 16, 18, 38. So that's what I do when I go through and look at my reward cards, because I try to understand the intrinsic value and apply a theoretical price. And what I've often found is that these numbers end up landing somewhere in the ballpark. But you're right. It is less satisfying that I don't know what an Evelyn of Vera is. It's less exciting. I wish there was like a futures market on this. Like I could come through and I could list it and we could just speculate on the price. That's already kind of happening with Rage. Did you guys know this? Rage is being, so Rebellion, Legendary, where is it? See, Rage is already on the marketplace. People are placing bids. I wish we could do a futures market, and maybe we could. Now, this would be this is just conjecture, because there's some people here who have put through bids. So yeah, that begins to start to figure out the price, because these guys are serious about they'll pay that when it comes live. But that's like 2 weeks away or 3 weeks away. So that's not like 6 months away. So, but I mean, with a month out to the soulbounds becoming transferable, if Jarvie, if you're hearing this, or Qualis or whoever, if we could get this listed, like each of the respective soulbound cards, if we could get them listed so we could start speculating on bid prices, which will start to hammer out a real price point in our minds. Oh, if everybody's willing to pay $12 for a regular foil Rage, maybe I'm out to lunch when I think it might be a $5 card. Right? So that could be valuable. Oscar says, what I hate is that in 6 months, when barely finish my soulbound reward cards, they will soon rotate out and will be worthless for me in a modern. I don't like the concept, to be honest. Yeah, this is, I think you're reiterating a bit of what I said around, they should be tied to the specific edition. A Rebellion reward card should absolutely be tied to the duration of time Rebellion is open and available in modern. Period. Full stop. We're still getting Chaos Legion reward cards. And that is an oversight. And I think long term, I bet if I had Matt here or the whole team here, they would agree, yeah, optimally we got to fix that. But again, it's been a transition of bear market. It's been there's been team drop off and there's been, layoffs and whatever. So this is not optimal. And I think they know that. But we've seen in the past our voice around issues where we think there's room for improvement can be heard and utilized for implementation and change. So this is a place where I think we can have a voice and we can redirect. So I disagree that the soul bounds are like a bad concept, but I think you're on to something when you say 6 months after I'm done collecting, they're going to be rotated out. That is a big L. That's a mistake. Rish, good to see you, buddy. You're wondering if we're live? We are live. I was going on a bit of a tirade there, a bit of a monologue with respect to soulbounds. Rish is sitting in bronze. I tell everybody who's fighting in those lower leagues, you got to check out Gathering the Magic. You get great content. Gathering the Magic, 1984. Check them out on YouTube. Veneth, offsetting the reward cards helps with variety as you get a smaller meta shift more often instead of having one massive meta shift. Yes, that's a great, I like the way you put that. You're right, because the new reward cards represent a meta shift. And if you give me, and by the way, I didn't say this earlier, but it's possible that there not be so many reward cards. Like right now, I think there's 2 of every kind, 2 legendary, 2 for every splinter. I think. Maybe you do 1 for every splinter and you do a 1-year window or a 6-month window. It doesn't have to be so many reward cards if the window is smaller. Because imagine if the window is smaller and there's fewer cards to be delivered in that window, there's less luck involved in drawing the ones that you need. If you cut the time of release in half, but you cut the number of cards within the release in half, we should reach the similar threshold of completion across the same across a half a duration of time. Cold as, but the goal of the game is to max up cards and play in high level. Then how will that work? Well, you would still have access to the soulbound cards. I guess the first thing is, this is a fun conversation, Cold. Thank you for the comment. I think there's a lot here, actually. One thing I want to say to you is, remember, we're changing how the rank rewards work. One of those points will mean that you will not, I don't think you're going to keep seeing penalties for not having the properly leveled cards. When you win a game and you have cards that are not properly leveled, you see deductions. This is a win that I recently had. Let's see what happened here. Look at that. I got -4% for low level cards. Now that feature was a calculation that was brought to the game because the rank reward system was broken and is broken. So people were playing at different league levels that they probably shouldn't have been. You're playing in gold, but you should be in diamond. Or you're playing in diamond, but you should be in gold. And so they're trying to make incentives and disincentives to help artificially, to like through a central control mechanism, push you to the place where you quote unquote should play. That card reduction theoretically can and will go away when they revamp the reward structure. And if they do remove that reduction, then you won't necessarily need to worry about whether or not your card is the accurate level for the league you're playing in. I've lost my comment section. Oh, there it is. So, because part of what you're saying, I think, is like, I need to max up these cards to play them at the right level. Well, what if you didn't anymore? What if a level 2 could be played in champion or diamond without a penalty? And what if it was an excellent card? And what if it was super rare to the point where most people didn't have it at level 3, or even most people didn't have it at level 1? So now you start recognizing that 1, there's no penalty necessarily, and 2, it's actually still valuable and helps me even though it's not max level. Now, yes, you're right. The game does aim at intending you to max out your cards. But again, there could be a pathway in this new system that I'm proposing where the cards can be reached at a max level. Maybe that's the Soulbound Dust, or maybe that's the marketplace buying from a peer-to-peer place, or whatever. Yes, 18x for cards. What we earned. That's it. See, the people do. This is a sentiment that more than iHorse shares. Look, we earned the cards. We spent the time. We played the game. These are my cards. Don't you know what I mean? Why are you charging me now? I get it. But again, if you look at the two suggestions I proposed, I think you see that there are pathways where it's not necessarily a direct outlay for you. If the buyer pays the DEC burn rate, if that's one path. If you can burn the card for soulbound dust, and then you have this currency that can allow you to mint other cards, again, that I think you start to see how there's solutions there that are possible. Oski says 6 months is too short. You would need to get them way more cards and higher chests in a time frame. Well, they're currently rethinking the entire reward structure. And I think we have to remember that right now, 6 months, there's no way you would get the max copies. But sorry guys, give me 1 second here. It's my nurse. Hello. Hi. Okay. Okay. I don't think so. I don't think they like it doesn't seem to work that way. But I'll if you want, I can maybe come get you guys and we'll bring you home, and then we can get her rest and she can go from there. But I need some time. So about 15, 20 minutes, I'll come in. Thanks. Yes, please. Thank you. Bye. Sorry, guys. My daughter is experiencing some medical distress at school, so I'm going to have to go get her. But I guess I just want to say I love the conversation around this. And I do think if you reimagine how rewards pay out, the multipliers at different league levels, they've said that they want to earn more reward at the higher levels. They want to incentivize you to go up in level. They want to make it so you never feel like you're getting less rewards at higher levels. All of that might mean that champion chests give you way more multipliers than you previously received, or diamond get way more multipliers than it previously received, or gold, or whatever league you play in or you want to play in. And if that's so, it's possible that the new plan could be one where there is a far shorter window of soulbound rewards. But I don't actually think 6 months is the number. I think it needs to be tied to the addition of cards that we're talking about. If it's a Rebellion soulbound, tie it to Rebellion. And if it's a chaos, tie it to chaos. That's going to alleviate a lot of the question marks, concerns, confusion when these things rotate out. And so I think that's the path. I think there's a lot of interesting thoughts around this. And I think it's something I think we should bring up more with the team, because they're in a rethinking phase. So let's be vocal in Discord. Let's communicate with the team. Let's be present in the town halls. Let's ask questions, and let's help them craft the game that we believe would be best. They're going to hear it. They're going to take our feedback. They might say no to some of it, but they're going to say yes to some of it. Let's be vocal. And guys, thank you so much for hanging out today. I appreciate you. I would stick around longer, but yeah, my girl's at school and her nurse just called and she needs some help. So I'm going to bring her home. So if you guys pray for little Lumina, she's having bad seizures. And thank you guys again for your time and attention, for your support of the channel. I hope you have an amazing day. God